Good morning, friends.
Good morning, peoples. How are you? Good. Happy Monday morning, even though it's Friday for us.
Friday afternoon. But I was legit like, oh wait, let me go. And then I was like, no, we're not sharing anything live right now.
Not at all. We had a conflict with this construct called time, so we decided to come to you from the past to the
Yes.
future.
Hi, friends.
Yes, to stimulate your mind, to poke your eye, to blow up some shit.
John's in a delicious mood today, in case you can't tell.
Oh, yes, I am feeling this. My birthday yesterday, or well, I would say Thursday was my birthday. And my birthday lasts for a month, so until the 9/11 hint, I am receiving gifts. If you want to gift me anything, I'm open to gifts. I'm open to receiving. uh, I'm big on that shit now, especially after yesterday. But
Hmm. Maybe we should have been talking about receiving instead.
ooh, well, what we're going to talk about, you have to be willing to receive.
True.
So today's topic this morning, this Monday morning, this misty morning, as Bob Marley would say, what do you know about entities? um, what is an entity?
Oh, that's a good question. What showed up for me is like all beings are entities.
Hmm.
Some of them just have bodies and some of them don't.
Yeah,
But then I'm also thinking of like the non sentient entities that we have.
yeah. Give an example. Give an example.
Um, it's so interesting because I was searching for one when you asked that question, but I'm like looking at a dream catcher
Hmm.
and I'm like, it does a job.
Yeah,
It has an energy of its own and it's a contribution.
yeah.
But then that opens the door to like everything. I'm also looking at I have a problem, y'all. I have an essential oils problem. Ignore all the bottles. That
I just ordered a bottle last
collection,
time.
that collection of oracle and tarot cards over
Yes,
there, like they all have an energy to them.
yes,
I don't even read. I think the last time I read for somebody else was last summer when I read for Kathy.
yeah,
Um, but I love them.
yeah.
They're a delicious contribution. It's so interesting because I started with oracle cards and I just got my first tarot deck last year after 17 years of
Uh-huh.
just having oracle decks, and I couldn't put the deck down.
Yeah.
Like there was some energy in the deck that I just had to like touch. And it was a massive contribution for me. What do you got?
Oracle.
Are those the ones that you pull on Super Soul Sundays?
No, this is just one that I use as a Native American deck that I have, and I use it, and when I do readings for me, my business. So, and I'm all over the place. I don't follow rules, so that's the first thing. So, and I know why I don't follow rules. After yesterday's hell, I'm gonna let that out. I did something yesterday. I had for my birthday, not yesterday. Keep on telling God's birthday. Thursday, I had an Akashic reading, and I know now why I do things how I do it and how I roll through the universe. I get it 100%, and uh, I like everything can be entities. Like for example, the first thing when you were talking when I asked that question, I was thinking about most people think of like boo the ghosts floating around, or and that's too. uh, in, things without bodies I call entities, but your business is an entity, and something remarkably started to happen. Last Saturday I was talking with my sister Maureen Friesen, and Hey, first we need to get these into. They're messing with my screen. Quit making my screen light and black, light and dark, light and dark. Bye, Felicia's. Okay, there. That's a little bit better. And not now. Not. Be nice. Okay, now see, I'm talking to entities because entities flow around with you all the time. So you have a choice of talking to them or not talking to them. You and all of you who say, "Oh, John's crazy," probably a little bit, but I don't care. So booger. Anyway, so my point of it is I start talking to my business as an entity, and my business started to expand. When I start talking to the entities, and I was in a class in Houston, and I keep hours with entities, or I have meetings with entities daily. It's about 10 to 20 minutes I spend with entities in the morning usually. And what happens is I turned off my alarm when I was in Houston last time, sister, when I was at an SOP class, because I didn't want to disrupt the class. It was 8:30 in Portland, it's 10:30 in Houston, and it was going off during the class. So I just turned it off. And I forgot to turn it on since 2 weeks ago. And I was just like, why am I feeling so wonky? How am I feeling like, and Maureen said to me, I don't know what happened to your business, bro. You was like, what did you do? I said, I don't know. So I grabbed my phone and I looked at my phone. I was going through my phone and I came across my alarms and I saw entities. And it was grayed out. I was like, huh? I said, you know something? I turned off this alarm and I realized when I turned it off and I turned it back on, and it was almost like someone let down the floodgates and the water came rushing in of abundance, of
Mm.
awareness, of my energy actually fucking changing. And I say that, so this is going to be too much for some people. Take a deep breath, put your panties on, and put your seatbelt on, and you'll be all right. But this is about asking questions and not. I know this conversation is not going to be for everybody because, and it's okay because how you're aligned sometimes, and it's fine. I'm just sharing this, and I came up and we talked about this before I got on because something shifted for me last weekend. And if you're willing to be open to contributions to the unknown, you'd be surprised what you can gain. But you have to be willing to do one thing: receive. And a lot of people, for one reason or other, not good or bad or right or wrong, they shut down their receiving of everything. One bad thing happens, and it's like me turning off that alarm, and the business is closed. And I'm saying, power to the people. That's what I look like I'm gonna do. But anyway, uh, but uh, but what I'm saying is, what would it be like if you were willing to even have an open door to the unknown? Does that terrify the shit out of you? And if it terrifies the shit out of you, what is that terrifies you?
Mm. I don't do well with the unknown.
Mm,
Um, I used to be so interesting. Um, so I have had this awareness for as long as I can remember.
uh,
And it used to make me afraid of the dark. Now, the caveat to that is if I was in a small space,
mm-hmm,
my grandmother had a wardrobe, aka Narnia. Um, and the space was like just big enough for 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old me to like fit in
mm-hmm,
like comfortably.
mm-hmm,
And so I would get in there and be in the bottom of the closet and be just fine. Because I know that no matter what my nervous system is picking up, no matter what I feel, no matter what entities or energies are swirling around me, I know what's in here with me because I can feel all four of the walls.
mm-hmm,
I didn't understand this at the time. I just thought I was weird because I was fine hanging out in the closet, but I was not fine in a big open dark room.
mm-hmm,
And what I know now is because I could feel the presences around me, but I couldn't see them and I didn't know what they were.
mm-hmm.
my nervous system was not okay with it.
Yeah.
And it's I'm facing something similar right now, but it is in like potential choices.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to switch a service that I'm getting from one provider to another
Mm-hmm.
provider. I don't actually know what switching the services is going to provide,
Mm-hmm.
but I know that this other provider is trained in what I think I need.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been with this person for 4 years now, and I still don't feel like I'm making progress in this area. And I'm having to actually talk myself into making this decision because there's a part of my brain that feels like I'm going to miss out on or lose something by switching providers.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very odd and interesting thing. And so I am definitely playing with what else is possible. I also love the question, what if this is the best decision that I could make? Because the track that my brain is on is, what if this is the worst decision?
Mm-hmm.
But what if it's the best decision? What if this is the decision that quantum leaps me into something else? Um,
What about this? Why don't you just choose it? And if it doesn't feel comfortable, choose something different, like the next day or 10 seconds later or an hour later.
I mean, there's also that.
Yeah. I mean, you're not magical at all. You can't change your mind midstream. That's impossible.
So impossible.
And, and,
That
and I say that because I think that we all get stuck, me fucking included. I'm being sarcastic towards myself when I say this. Oh, I made the choice, so I got to stick with it. Who says?
right. And that is a practice for me at the moment
Yeah.
because um I like so I'm buying a car, friends. Um so that also comes up, but like I can also change my mind with that.
Yes.
I could buy a car, don't love it, sell it, and buy another one.
Yes. Absolutely. We get trapped in this thing, and the more I play with entities, the more I play with entities, I realize that I have an abundance of choices that I can make in this reality. And for me, this is just for me. I read this book about a year or so, maybe I can't remember when it first came out. A book came out by called Light Beings uh, by Shannon O'Hara, and I read it like in a day. I could have read it like maybe 2 days, but I could have read it in a couple hours because I was geeked. But she suggested taking time with it. And what I'm beginning to realize, especially after this reading yesterday or Thursday to you guys, uh, when you have a capacity with something, let me, they are desiring to gift us more than what we can receive because we're not willing to receive because of what this reality says about receiving. Now, they will do things like this. Grab your shirt when you like it. I noticed that when I was going through room to room, my shirt would get caught on a doorknob, a box, the car, a twig outside. And it was almost, and I was just like, what the fuck? I'm not Stevie Wonder walking through the building. It's just like, what does it take? And what I realized, those were whispers of entities trying to what? Catch my attention.
Mm,
When you start working out the muscle of even making choices every 10 seconds or talking to entities every 10 seconds or whatever, it's like going to the gym. That, that right there. Your body has a reaction to a possibility. And that's why I asked the question, what do you know that you've been denying about entities that will even help you find the exact car with ease. You know, some people look, and here's the piece about it, and I'm not gonna get into because I don't want to make this like the Christian show or the Muslim show or the Ifa show. Whatever you use, angels, orishas, uh, tarot, whatever it is to get to that, what would it take to try it out to see if it's actually a contribution to your body? And let go of everybody's perceived projections to you. Because a lot of times I think people stop because, well, what would so and so think if I say that? Or what would somebody think if they find out I talk to entities?
Wow, they should probably come to a foundation to deal with that. But
Yeah, I mean, but I don't even want.
um,
So here's the piece about it. And yes, I would love people to come to foundations. I could teach foundation classes, yes, or anybody else's foundation class you can go to. But what really is important to me after Thursday was just being willing to be present with them.
yeah,
And the first practice of that, the other one of the greatest entities you walk on every day, and she offers you oxygen, she gives you water, she gives you food, she allows you to eat her beings, both physically. Oh, I'm gonna stop. That was gonna be perverted, but anyway, Earth allows you to have pleasure in this body, in this existence. She is a entity. Here's a suggestion today, wherever you are, go outside, put your feet in the grass, the snow, or the water, and allow the swirl of earth to enter the soles of your feet. Take your shoes off.
I just want you to know you said no and my feet said nope.
Well, some people might be in a snowy place. This might be winter someplace for people. And snow also has its contributions. It's
Oh
not
yeah,
my favorite,
yeah, yeah.
but it can have. I have some friends that live in Northern Europe that do a lot of things in snow.
My
And they really
feet
get into it.
were like, absolutely not.
So my toes curled up when I did that. My butt got tight. I could have made a diamond, you know.
Oh my God, you're a mess.
Yeah.
But
So
yes, to bare feet on the ground.
yeah,
It balances your chakras for you. I mean, you can come have a session with me. That's fine.
yeah, yeah. And she's dope.
You could also go outside and put your bare feet on the ground for
Yeah,
15 minutes twice
yeah.
a day. See what that contributes to.
And so the piece about it, and like I'm asking people out there, would you also be willing to let go of Hollywood's version of entities? You know,
Mm,
I I went to see a movie, and I love this brother. I went to see the movie Nope, Nope. Uh, he's the same one who wrote Get Out. I think
Jordan Peele.
Jordan. Yeah, Jordan Peele. Is it Jordan Peele?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm over the storyline with all of these aliens being negative, being monster like. I'm over that shit. Interesting point of view Hollywood has about they're trying to scare you out of something. The question I asked, what are they trying to scare your ass out of? You know,
Well, what if they're not trying to scare you out of anything, but just to keep you scared?
but they scare. Okay, yeah, and it makes it scary to think that you anything else outside of what you think is this is going to haunt you, eat you, kill you, or take you over.
Yeah.
They do that with everything, all the entities. The last time there used to be in the 60s, they did a show, and I think they took it off because it was people like, oh, well, okay, I guess I could talk. It was, I can't remember the name of the show. It was in the 60s. I remember being watching it when I was a kid, and it was this house that these people lived in, and there were these ghosts, but they cohabit.
Is
They
it
were living
Casper?
together. Not Casper. It wasn't Casper. It was the show that came on regular TV. And I thought I can't. Casper was. I remember Casper. That was more of a cartoon.
Oh,
But
this was a show.
this was a show, and it was these people, and they were living with these, and they would show up and they move. And what I'm saying is, what if it's more like that than devils?
It is at my house.
Yeah.
So John talks about his office hours with his entities. Y'all, if you have a session with me, if you come to a happy hour, you're interacting with entities.
Yeah.
My mom hangs out here.
Yeah.
And my grandmother has been with me since I knew that she was with me when she was 15, when I was 15. Um, I used to see my grandfather sitting on the back of my couch. I had to ask him to stop doing it. It was freaking me out. But like, I heard my children before they were born. The first two. That last one, I didn't hear him, but I didn't really have time to hear him because he's a lot closer in age than the other two. But like, we would hear a baby crying. There's no baby in the building, but a baby is crying pretty much nonstop.
Yeah.
And then once I got pregnant with my daughter, everywhere we lived, once I got pregnant with my daughter, no more crying. She was just like, "Hi, can I come in?" And I was like, "No, not yet. You're early." She was early nonetheless, but she knew some things.
And that's what I'm saying to people. That's my biggest piece that I'm saying to people. What would it take? What would it take to be an allowance of them contributing to you? And I think that we're so isolated. We're so fucking isolated. What happens is that, you know, there are things in this reality that want to keep you isolated, totally isolated. You know, you went away from me. I say you keep on going. I don't know if that's me or you, but
Maybe your connection, but I can hear you.
Okay. So those damn entities. Sometimes when I'm about to say some shit that's deep, y'all, there's an energetic boom. So what I need to do, like I learned yesterday or Thursday, let me expand outside of this space a little bit, get bigger than an internet. Okay. Now, I forgot what I was going to say, son of a gun.
Some entities want to keep us isolated.
Some entities, some things want to keep us isolated from connecting to the oneness that we truly be. There is a oneness that travels through the universe. And for whatever reason that is, there's something that likes to keep at bay. And here's the piece about it. What if people could truly be an allowance of others in their choices? You know, what would that look like if we were truly an allowance? That I'm gonna use this phrase, I didn't give a fuck with what you chose. My thing is, as long as you're not hurting somebody, what if I was an allowance for you to have that choice? And it even goes to the point, like, this separation thing. People quarantine, putting a mask on and stuff. I know that we need to be healthy. I know. But since all of this started, have more people died, fewer people died, people still dying. And what I'm saying is that, and here's the other piece, and I've danced with this one too, the fear of that thing we call death. I scratch my head because nobody's got out here alive yet.
Right. We can talk about that more in the future. Go and tell a little bit more of my business. Otherwise, it's not going to make sense to the people. My first suicide attempt was when I was 9. I actually, when I look back, don't think I really actually wanted to be here. Like from the start. And if you want to hear more about that story, it's hilarious. Ask me. I won't take up this whole call telling it, but it is pretty funny. And then somewhere in my I woke up every day and my first thought was, oh, fuck, I'm still here. Okay, I guess I'll go do life today. And at some point in my 30s, I had an EFT tapping session with a healer out of Australia. And within 2 weeks of having that session with her, I stopped waking up with that being my first thought every morning. But I circled back to, I really don't want to be in this body. And over the last, I would say 18 months, pretty much I can contribute the shift to the sessions with John because it got really bad in January. And I think we had a session on January 31st.
Mhm.
And I was as close to suicidal as I've been since I was 12, I think,
Mhm.
this past January. And it was after that session with you that that stopped for me. But it was still pretty much like until the last session we had, which I didn't even know we were having. I went later and was like, "Did you do something this morning?" And he was like, "Yeah, how you feeling?" I feel like I don't exactly hate it here anymore. Thanks.
And let me add. So this is gonna go back, and I'm sharing a little bit with that, if I might add to that. But go
One
ahead.
second. I want to say that part of it, and this is going to get complex for those of you who are not access speakers, but I had some entities and energies with me that John's worked on clearing and or integrating, even if he didn't know that that's what he was doing. And that's made a massive difference for me. So that is part of that, like some energies just want to be sad. Some energies just want to be miserable. Some energies just want to suffer. And I didn't have the capacity for myself to even see that was what was going on to remove it for myself.
Mhm. Yeah.
But I did.
And one of the things that I always ask when most of us, and I said this to my guys yesterday in the guys group, most of us, our largest organ is a sensory organ called skin. It picks up everything. It's a flesh antenna. Now you just feel the pleasure and the pain, but it also picks up the other energetic patterns that are out there. And many of us, many of us have empathic possibilities or capacities, and we don't know it. So what happens is we tap in to others, embodied and not embodied, that are in misery, and we think it's ours because our body makes it think it's ours. It's not until you ask this one simple question: is this shit mine? And
Another
when you ask
version.
that
Who does
question,
this belong to?
who this is, but yeah, but I'm gonna break it down because I want people to get it, because you live in an apartment complex, you live in a city. If, let's say my family is living in Chicago, and you wake up and you're like, it's kind of crunchy. How many people were murdered last night? And how many of those bodies did you hear cry out? Like you heard you talk about your daughter, and you thought you were crying out, but you weren't crying out because what about that kid that was abducted? What about the innocent person who doesn't really know that they did because they were walking down the street and they got a bullet in the ass and they died? And what I'm saying is we're interconnected. And I know a lot of people are gonna be sit back and somebody push back. I'm sorry, I'm not debating, I'm not trying to prove anything. This is what I am finding now. And what I'm saying is bigger than even that, if you would
Mm-hmm.
allow it. And we all walk through here like miserable me. And you can pray to get out of it, whatever it takes. But the thing that I'm gonna ask is, who does this belong to, or is this shit mine?
Yeah.
I mean,
Is
and
it
then
even mine?
yeah. And furthermore, if you do have a huge capacity with entities and you're walking around and shit's happening and you're sad and stuff, sometimes they will be an annoyance because they know you can hear them or see them. And they were like, hey, you're the only person. I'm trying to get out to my cousin across the street. She can't hear or see me, but you can. So can you go tell her? Duh, 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 duh.
I'm so glad mine don't work that way.
Ooh,
They
motherfuckers
do.
be,
They have talked to me in the shower though.
yeah.
The first time I got a message outside of a session that was for somebody else, it was for a friend who I had started being romantically involved with. I'm in the shower minding my own crevices, and I hear, I hear And I was like, this is rude. I can't write it down. I'm not going to remember it. Like, can you come back when I
Yeah,
have pen and paper nearby, homie?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Crazy, 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 crazy. But I'm gonna turn to pumpkin usually. It's 30 minutes that we've been with you. I hope this
Pumpkin hour.
conversation was a contribution to you guys. We'll be back. The energies won't let me talk now. We will be back next week, maybe live or maybe recorded. Hopefully live.
Maybe.
Hope
Hopefully
you
not.
guys have a wonderful. Hope you've had a wonderful weekend, and I hope you have a
A
wonderful
wonderful
week.
week.
And until
Bye,
next
friends.
weekend, next week, peace and blessings. Bye bye.